Hello, hello. Let me set this up. All right. It's early. I already let Poncho out, potty. And I am, hold on. I'll be heading to work in a little. I was hoping to get a little bit more sleep, but Poncho was like, no ma'am, you're needing to take me potty. And I'm glad because I was having some really shitty dreams. I had a really hard time sleeping again. I'm getting fucking tired of that. But anyway, this time, hold on. Of course, Poncho went back to bed. Of course, he's under my feet right now. I got my coffee. I got my new beautiful candle. I thought I would try and do some meditation this morning because, dang it. I'm a little perturbed, I'm not gonna lie. Fuck me. Are you? Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm a little grouchy and my language isn't necessarily the best. But at least I'm not calling reporters piggies, ugly, and stupid. Or calling governors retarded, which the president did. God, I hate even calling him that. I think that's one of the first times I've ever referred to that bitch as the president. Oh. So, I thought about going on last night. Very, very disturbed. I was very sad to hear that that young lady, only 20 years old, had recently just been sworn in, and she passed away from the shooting. She should never have even been in D.C. She should have been celebrating the holidays with her family. But no, fucking Trump and his psychoticness. It's almost like they planned it. This guy was former CIA, worked with CIA operatives. It's just very weird, isn't it? They were vetted by. They were allowed in by. Yes, stupid. Trump, stupid. Piggy, ugly piggy. He is the stupidest, ugliest piggy we've ever had to tolerate. And he only does that to women. What a cunt. What a fucking cunt. I know. I need to let me light. I am lighting some of my Palo Santo because I am all sorts of feisty. I'm really, I need to get on and read a little bit today because I'm really fucking tired of that man. Tired of him wasting our fucking time. What a pointless bitch. All he did was talk about golf and how he never cheats, and that's all he does. I beat a 27-year-old. Fuck you. Fuck you. No one... he really believes his lies, too. That's the sad part. Stupid old grandpa. He has lost his fucking mind. And no one will put him out to pasture because people like Stephen Miller, who like to write his tweets and who's just filled with fucking rage and hate, because wouldn't you be if you had to look in the mirror and see that ugly cunt looking back at you? He's the biggest piece of shit ever. I cannot wait till he goes on trial. Till all of that junk drawer goes on trial for enabling and allowing what has happened. You really did find the most vile people on earth. And I'm glad he did, because now we know who they are. All right. Oh. So I was able to see my daughter yesterday for Thanksgiving. It was a very quiet one. It was just me, my two nephews, Max and Jared, my daughter, and my brother. And I'm really grateful. I really am. I'm glad my brother, he made a little meal for us so that I could participate with him. My nephew came and picked me up, my nephew Max, and we had the best conversation on our way, because it's over an hour drive. So he came all the way to pick me up and then take me home. And I got to talk to him a little bit about spirituality, which was really cool. He got to open up to me about some of his concerns, and we talked about our family trauma, and I gave him some advice. Told him kind of how I've been on my spiritual journey, and that it is not selfish to take time away from your family and away from people that pull at you. Actually, it's critical, and if these people really give a shit about you, they're going to respect it, because you will return back to them. If you return back to them, you will return back to them healthier, and that's the best gift you can give anyone. And it was good. It was a really good conversation. And when I got there, my daughter still had her ofrenda up from Dia de los Muertos, which made me so happy. It was like a collection of all the stuff I've been giving her to build her ofrenda. And this year, I wasn't with her. I've been working here, and I was really proud of her for putting it up. And she left it up so that I could see it. And that made me happy. And the Dallas Cowboys won, so my dad would have been totally stoked about that. And so finally we got home. I got home, and my roommate, the lady that owns the house, was here with her kids, and they were all playing games. They had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It was really nice. And I watched Mufasa. I had not seen that. I really thought it was a remake of The Lion King, but I didn't realize it was actually the origin. And it was a good story. It was something that I really needed to, because I like to look at the deeper messages in those stories. And I think I'm Rafiki. I think I'm the monkey. The misfit, the mystic. It was really kind of cool. So I watched that and chilled with my little Poncho, my snoring Frenchie here. And, I didn't do too much tarot. I struggled a little yesterday, and I am very thankful for many things. I'm thankful for my job. I sent messages to my coworkers that I'm very thankful for them. But I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with the world. Like, I'm really tired of this Earth Angel project. I'm tired of how ugly the people in power are. I'm tired of how cruel and how senseless. Like, didn't even say Thanksgiving until, midnight last night? After a horrible presser where he just talks about, he calls her multiple times stupid because he's a fucking cunt. He's irritable. Someone needed to change his diaper, but apparently they didn't. He talks about his golf game. It's so evident how fucked up this man is, and nothing is happening. And it's pissing me off. It's just pissing me off. The arrogance, not just of him, but of his administration, because they know. TikTok motherfuckers, you know Once he is exposed, you are all going down. So I am praying. I'm probably going to be fasting today. I'm trying to trust the universe, but I'm tired. All of us are. There's this collective exhaustion. Just so fucking tired of hearing constantly, the ceasefire not even being respected, still killing people in Israel. If you read his last rant last night, how ugly he talked about the governor, Tim Walz, and Omar, the representative who wears her turban, like he's so rotten and vile. I am so embarrassed. These are the kinds of things that will be in history books, that we allowed. We allowed this fucking cunt, neck twat, on our holidays to just rant. This pedophile, this disgusting con man piece of shit. And I'm tired. And so I'm praying to my ancestors. I'm praying to the universe. It is time. Enough. Please, please, please help us to get through this. I'm trying to trust the universe as much as I can. I don't understand why this is important right now, why this is still being allowed, but I have to trust that there is a reason for it. But I'm exhausted, and I'm not the only one. I know so many people are exhausted. And we're struggling. I'm barely making ends meet. I've got now I've got to worry about getting my daughter's wisdom teeth removed. I'm trying to save for a car. I'm, finances. I'm making barely what I was making before. And this, so that billionaires can have more money in their pocket. We're eating 3D meat and shit and processed food so that people can make more fucking money, more profit. I'm exhausted. I'm so fucking exhausted. Everyone is. So please, if anyone is watching, pray. Send good juju. Try not to get absorbed in the hate and the evilness, because those demons, I do. I feel like his world is collapsing around him, and we're seeing the demon come out like he can't help himself. Somebody get a fucking exorcist in that White House. And he just wants to make the ballroom bigger and gaudier. Like he's literally fighting about the size of it just because he has a little shroom and little hands. He wants to make it bigger than the actual White House. What a piece of shit. That's what he's focused on. That's what that cunt is focused on. It's fucking crazy. And, this project has given me hope that things will change. But sometimes I do. I get, like yesterday, I got really exhausted. And I'm just like, when? Holy shit. How much more of this shit are we going to have to listen to? So I hope everyone else is hanging in there. And this too shall pass, and this evil will be exposed. And I was telling Max that on the drive, my nephew. It was kind of nice to like share a little bit of my spirituality, a little bit of my belief and how things will be changing. And to be able to say it so confidently, and I do believe it. I still do believe it, even though I'm fucking exhausted, even though I'm like, where the fuck are you? Why is this fucker still breathing? I still know that everything is happening exactly as it should, and this is a test of my patience. And if I have to hear, you passed the test again in this fucking project, I swear I'm so fucking over it. But I'll keep passing the test that the universe sends my way. So, finally, when I did fall asleep, I had a dream. My sage again. Ugh. And my ex was in it. I have not dreamt about William. I don't even think, that I can remember in ages. And this motherfucker I can't stand. Like, if I never ever see him again, it'll be too fucking soon. And working this project really helped me to see who he really is inside. He's a lot like Trump. A lot like Trump. In denial, he's full of shit. He will do whatever it takes. He'll lie. He won't ever take accountability. He's just... And he has been part of the storytelling part of my, for entertainment purposes only, project. Because he's worked in cahoots with the evil cabal. So as soon as I woke up, I was like, I rebuke thee in the name of Jesus, motherfucker. Get the fuck out of my head. Any contracts, binds, or anything used to ruin my dreams, fuck you, you cunt. I never ever want to dream of him again. And it was such a weird dream. It was like he was trying to be in a relationship with me again. And I was living in like one of my poorest little houses, and he was such a snob too about it. And I remember there was just one time like he came back from work or something, he had been in a regular suit or like in regular professional clothes, and then he changes, and I'm like, oh, who the fuck is this? And he's wearing like these baggy pants and these real, like this trendy outfit, and he reminded me of, what's that show? He's all, don't be hating. It's like Malibu's Most Wanted, the white guy. That actually in that one, he's an adorable character. William is a piece of shit. But it was like this wannabe, dressing like a kid, trying to be cool. And I remember like being low-key embarrassed for him. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't care if you spent a shit ton of money on those clothes. You look fucking ridiculous. You're 50 years old. And you're dressed like you're 18. The fuck is wrong with you? I was so embarrassed, like, to even be around him. Do that. Ooh, chihuahuas. Nice. It burnt a little bit of my sage. So that was enough of that dream. I woke up and I'm just like, God, when I finally fall asleep, then I have to dream about this motherfucker. So I can't wait till, and that's the other part. Like, I really am a part of this Earth Angel project. Unfortunately, he is part of the story. It is for entertainment purposes only, but he's part of the story. He's part of the whole reason this project started. It was to be able to start healing from a very difficult and toxic relationship from him, and it morphed into something so much bigger. But he's still part of the fucking story, and I'm tired of talking about that cunt. I'm tired of thinking about him, because if I am thinking about him, it's never good. It's just negative, and so I'm ready to be done with this part of the project. I don't ever want to talk. I mean, once I'm done with this, I hope I never have to. I probably will, just I never want to have to talk about him again. I really don't. The likelihood is, though, you know, if when this project goes public, I will have to talk about him, but at least it'll be in a different context, like it's finally over. And we'll see if, you know, it is for entertainment purposes only, but wouldn't it be interesting if, you know, the shit I've been saying is true? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so that is where I am at in the Earth Angel update. I am tired. The rest of the world is tired, I'm sure. We, right now, it's a collective exhaustion. It's not just us. I mean, I really feel around the world, like, if you think we're tired, can you imagine how the people in Gaza feel? Can you imagine how Somalians feel? And Trump has this obsession with Somalia right now. He's talking so much shit about them. Can you imagine how the people in Japan feel right now, whose apartments, that's such a sad tragedy. No more bamboo scaffolding. Like, holy shit. How that started and how that spread is so sad. It's already 8:30. There we go. Ouch, 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 ouch. So, I know I need to put on my makeup and start getting ready for work. But before I do, let me get... Thank you, Pancho. He's licking my feet. What's that, buddy? Come here. Come say hi. Come here, my handsome boy. Let's see if he'll come. Come here. Come here. Oh my goodness. Look at this boy. Is he not the most handsome boy ever? You smell my coffee? I agree, Pancho. I agree. Pancho says, enough. Get that fucker out the White House. He didn't even have a dog in there. You know he's a bad person when he didn't even have pets. All right. Let's read a little, Pancho. Hopefully this will help me calmate down. Role-playing, the many faces of the ego. Oh, I know, I need to get out of my ego. It's really hard in this world when you're dealing with cunts like the leaders we're dealing with. But we can do it. Chapter 4. An ego that wants something from another, and what ego doesn't, and what ego doesn't. Thank you, Pancho. Okay, let me start that again. An ego that wants something from another, and what ego doesn't, will usually play some kind of role to get the needs met. Be they material gain, a sense of power, superiority, or specialness, or some kind of gratification, be it physical or psychological. Usually, people are completely unaware of the roles they play. They are those roles. Some roles are subtle. Others are blatantly obvious, except to the person playing it, Trump. Some roles are designed simply to get attention from others. The ego thrives on others' attention, which is, after all, a form of psychic energy. The ego doesn't know that the source of all energy is within you, so it seeks it outside. It is not the formless attention, which is presence, that the ego seeks, but attention in some form. God, wouldn't it be great if we just shut off all of our social media? We just went on a blackout. Like, we literally ignored the fucker. If someone, I kept thinking of that reporter and her look when he called her stupid, and he said it multiple times just to get a reaction out of her, and God bless her, because I would have been like, I would have said, shut up, piggy. I swear to God, I would have told that cunt to shut the fuck up. Asked him, are you retarded? Do you not understand what these questions mean? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, you bitch? I mean, God bless her. It is not the formless attention, which is presence, that ego seeks, but attention from some form, such as recognition, praise, admiration, oh, my golf game, or just to be noticed in some way, to have its existence acknowledged. A shy person who is afraid of attention of others is not free of ego, but has an ambivalent ego that both wants and fears attention from others. The fear is that the attention may take the form of disapproval or criticism. That is to say, something that diminishes the sense of self rather than enhances it. So, the shy person's fear of attention is greater than his or her need of attention. Shyness often goes with a self-concept that is predominantly negative, the belief of being inadequate. Any conceptual sense of self, seeing myself at this time as this or that, is ego. Whether predominantly positive, I am the greatest, or negative, I am no good. Behind every positive self-concept is the hidden fear of not being good enough or relevant, in Donald Trump's case. We got to stop making him relevant. He is not so irrelevant. He will die, literally die, without us psychically feeding him. And that would not be a bad thing, trust me. Okay. So the shy person's fear of attention is greater than his or her need of attention. Shyness often goes with a self-concept that is predominantly negative. Oh, I already read that. Behind every negative self-concept is the hidden desire of being the greatest or being better than others. Behind the confident ego's feeling of and continuing need for superiority is the unconscious fear of inferiority. Conversely, the shy, inadequate ego that feels inferior has a strong hidden desire for superiority. Some people fluctuate between feelings of inferiority and superiority, depending on situations or the people they come into contact with. All you need to know and observe in yourself is that whenever you feel superior or inferior to anyone, that's the ego in you. Villain, victim, lover. Some egos, if they cannot get praise or admiration, will settle for other forms of attention and play roles to elicit them. If they cannot get positive attention, they may seek negative attention instead. For example, Donald Trump. I mean, it doesn't say that here, but they may seek negative attention instead. For example, by provoking a negative reaction in someone else. Shut up, piggy. Are you stupid? Some children already do that too. They misbehave to get attention, or their diaper needs to be changed. The playing of negative roles becomes particularly pronounced whenever the ego is magnified by an active pain body. That is to say, emotional pain from the past because mommy didn't love him and daddy hated him, that wants to renew itself through experiencing more pain. Some egos perpetrate crimes in their search for fame. They seek attention through notoriety and other people's condemnation. Please tell me that I exist, that I am not insignificant. Holy shit, he's totally calling out Trump. They seem to say, such pathological forms of ego are only more extreme versions of normal egos. A very common role is the one of victim, and the form of attention it seeks is sympathy or pity or others' interest in my problems. It sounds like my sister. Me and my story. Seeing oneself as a victim, and my mom, is an element in many egoic patterns such as complaining, being offended, outraged, and so on. Of course, once I am identified with the story in which I assigned myself the role of victim, I don't want it to end. And so, as every therapist knows, the ego does not want an end to its problems because they are part of its identity. Wow. If no one will listen to me, my sad story, I can tell it to myself in my head over and over and feel sorry for myself. And so have an identity as someone who is being treated unfairly by life or other people, fate, or even God. It gives definition to my self-image, makes me into someone, and that is all that matters to the ego. And this ego is a cunt. Jeez. In the early stages of many so-called romantic relationships, role-playing is quite common in order to attract and keep whatever is perceived by the ego as one who is going to make me happy, make me feel special and fulfilled in all my needs. I'll play who you want me to be, and you'll play who I want you to be. That's the unspoken and unconscious agreement. However, role-playing is hard work, and so those roles cannot be sustained indefinitely, especially once you've started living together. When those roles slip, what do you see? Unfortunately, in most cases, not yet the true essence of that being, but that which covers up the true essence, the raw ego, divested of its roles, with its pain body and its thwarted wanting, which now turns into anger, most likely directed at the spouse or the partner for having failed to remove the underlying fear and sense of lack that is an intrinsic part of the egoic sense of self. What is commonly called falling in love is in most cases an intensification of egoic wanting and needing. You become addicted to another person, or rather to your image of that person. It has nothing to do with true love, which contains no wanting whatsoever. The Spanish language is the most honest in regards to conventional notions of love. Te quiero means I want you, as well as I love you. The other expression for I love you, te amo, which does not have this ambiguity. It's rarely used, perhaps because true love is just as rare. Letting go of self-definitions. Oh, I'll need this. As tribal cultures developed into the ancient civilizations, certain functions began to be allotted to certain people. Ruler, priest or priestesses, warriors, farmers, merchants, craftsmen, laborers, and so on. A class system developed. Your function, which in most cases you were born into, determined your identity, determined who you were in the eyes of others as well as in your own eyes. Your function became a role, but it wasn't recognized as a role. It was who you were or thought you were. Only rare beings at the time, such as the Buddha or Jesus, saw the ultimate irrelevance of caste, or social class. Recognized it as an identification with form and saw that such identification with the conditioned and temporal obscured with the conditioned and the temporal obscured, the light of the unconditional and eternal that shines in each human being, whether they're in Somalia or Gaza or in the US or Japan or anywhere. In our contemporary world, the social structures are less rigid, less clearly defined than they used to be. Although most people are, of course, still conditioned by their environment, they are no longer automatically assigned a function and with it an identity. In fact, in the modern world, more and more people are confused as to where they fit in, what their purpose is, and even who they are. I usually congratulate people when they tell me, oops, you see how much time, okay. I usually congratulate people when they tell me, I don't know who I am anymore. Then they look at me perplexed and say, are you saying it's a good thing to be confused? And I ask them to investigate. What does it mean to be confused? I don't know. Is not confusion. Confusion is, I don't know, but I should know. Or, I don't know, but I need to know. Is it possible to let go of that belief that you should or need to know who you are? Is it possible to let go of the belief that you should or you need to know who you are? In other words, can you cease looking to conceptual definitions to give you a sense of self? Can you cease looking to thought for an identity? When you let go of the belief that you should or need to know who you are, what happens to confusion? Suddenly, it's gone. When you fully accept that you don't know, you actually enter a state of peace and clarity. That is closer to who you truly are than thought could ever be. Defining yourself through thought is limiting yourself. Very nice. Pre-established roles. Let me see how much longer this is. Of course, different people fulfill different functions in this world. It cannot be otherwise. As far as intellectual or physical abilities are concerned, knowledge, skills, talents, and energy levels, human beings differ widely. What really matters is not what functions you fulfill in this world, but whether you identify with your functions to such an extent that it takes you over and becomes a role that you play. And when you play roles, you are unconscious. When you catch yourself playing a role, that recognition creates a space between you and the role. It is the beginning of freedom from the role. When you are completely identified with the role, you confuse a pattern of behavior with who you are, and you take yourself very seriously. You also automatically assign roles to others that correspond to yours. For example, when you visit doctors who are totally identified with their role, to them, you will not be a human being, but a patient or a case history. Although the social structures in the contemporary world are less rigid than in ancient cultures, there are still many pre-established functions or roles that people readily identify with, and which thus become part of the ego. This causes human interaction to become inauthentic, dehumanized, alienating. These pre-established roles may give you a somewhat comforting sense of identity, but ultimately, you lose yourself in them. The functions people have in hierarchical organizations such as the military, the church, a government institution, or large corporation easily lend themselves to becoming role identities. Authentic human interactions become impossible when you lose yourself in a role. Some pre-established roles we could call social archetypes. To mention just a few, the middle-class housewife, not as prevalent as it used to be, but still widespread. The tough, macho male, alpha males, you're right. The female seductress, woo-woo. The non-conformist artist or performer. A person of culture, a role quite common in Europe, who displays a knowledge of literature, fine arts, and music in the same way as others might display an expensive dress or car. And then there are the universal roles of adult. When you play that role, you take yourself and life very seriously. Spontaneity, lightheartedness, and joy are not part of that role. The hippie movement that originated in the west coast of the United States in the 1960s and then spread throughout the Western world came out of many young people's rejection of social archetypes, of roles, of pre-established patterns of behavior, as well as egoically based social and economic structures. They refused to play the roles that their parents and society wanted to impose on them. Significantly, it coincided with the horrors of the Vietnam War, in which more than 57,000 young Americans and 3 million Vietnamese died, and through which the insanity of the system and the underlying mindset was exposed for all to see. Whereas in the 1950s, most Americans were still extremely conformist in thought and behavior. In the 60s, millions of people began to withdraw their identification with the collective conceptual identity because the insanity of the collective was so obvious. The hippie movement represented a loosening of the hitherto rigid egoic structures in the psyche of humanity. The movement itself degenerated and came to an end, but it left behind an opening, and not just in those who were part of the movement. This made it possible for ancient Eastern wisdom and spirituality to move west and to play an essential part of the awakening and global consciousness. That is so cool. I should have been, well, hey, I was born in the 70s. I'm maybe a product of not. Okay, almost done, and then I gotta wrap this up. It's gonna take forever to load. Temporary roles. If you are awake enough, aware enough to be able to observe how you interact with other people, you may detect subtle changes in your speech, attitude, and behavior, depending on the person you are interacting with. It's true. At first, it may be easier to observe this in others. Then you may also detect it in yourself. The way in which you speak to the chairman of the company may be different in subtle ways from how you speak to the janitor. How you speak to a child may be different from how you speak to an adult. Why is that? You are playing roles. You are not yourself, neither with the chairman, nor with the janitor, or with the child. When you walk into a store to buy something, when you go to a restaurant, the bank, the post office, you may find yourself slipping into pre-established social roles. You become a customer and speak and act as such. And when you may not be treated by the salesperson or the waiter who is playing a role as a customer, a range of conditioned patterns of behavior come into effect between two human beings that determine the nature of the interaction. You become a Karen. Instead of human beings, conceptual mental images are interacting with each other. The more identified people are with their respective roles, the more inauthentic the relationships become. You have a mental image not only of who the other person is, but also of who you are, especially in relation to the person you are interacting with. So you are not relating with that person at all, but who you think you are is relating to who you think the other person is, and vice versa. The conceptual image in your mind has made of yourself is relating to its own creation, which is the conceptual image it has made of the other person. The other person's mind has probably done the same, so every egoic interaction between two people is in reality the interaction between four conceptual mind-made identities that are ultimately fictions. It is therefore not surprising that there is so much conflict in relationships. There is no true relationship. The monk with sweaty palms. Kazan, a Zen teacher and monk, was to officiate at a funeral of a famous nobleman. As he stood there waiting for the governor of the province and other lords and ladies to arrive, he noticed that the palms of his hands were sweaty. The next day he called his disciples together and confessed he was not yet ready to be a true teacher. He explained to them that he still lacked the sameness of bearing before all human beings, whether beggar or king. He was still unable to look through social roles and conceptual identities and see the sameness of being in every human. He was intimidated. That's interesting. He then left and became the pupil of another master. He returned to his former disciples 8 years later, enlightened. Wow, it's interesting. Happiness as a role versus true happiness. How are you? Just great. Couldn't be better. True or false? In many cases, happiness is a role people play, and behind the smiling facade, there's a great deal of pain. Depression, breakdowns, and overreactions are common when unhappiness is covered up behind a smiling interior and brilliant white teeth. When there is denial, sometimes even to oneself, there is much unhappiness. Just fine is a role the ego plays more commonly in America than in certain other countries where being and looking miserable is almost the norm and therefore more socially acceptable. It is probably an exaggeration, but I am told that in the capital of one Nordic country, you run the risk of being arrested for drunken behavior if you smile at strangers in the street. If there is unhappiness in you, first you need to acknowledge that it is there. But don't say, I'm unhappy. Unhappiness has nothing to do with who you are. Say, there is unhappiness in me. Then investigate it. A situation you find yourself in may have something to do with it. Living in this country, living in this world. Action may be required to change the situation or remove yourself from it. If there is nothing you can do, face what it is and say, well, right now, that's how it is. I can either accept it or make myself miserable. Misery is an option. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Ugh. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral, which always is as it is. There is a situation or the fact, and here are my thoughts about it. Instead of making up stories, stay with the facts. For example, I am ruined is a story. It limits you and prevents you from taking effective action. I have 50 cents left in my bank account is a fact. Facing facts is always empowering. Be aware that what you think to a large extent creates the emotions that you feel. See the link between your thinking and your emotions rather than being your thoughts and emotions. Be the awareness behind them. Don't seek happiness. If you seek it, you won't find it. Because seeking is the antithesis of happiness. Happiness is ever elusive, but freedom from unhappiness is attainable now by facing what is rather than making up stories about it. By facing what is rather than making up stories about it. We did not vet him. Sorry. Unhappiness covers up your natural state of well-being and inner peace, the source of true happiness. All right, I'm going to end there. Next one is parenthood or role or function. Sounds like the roomies are up and moving and I got to get ready for work. But I hope that if you are watching, well, even if you're not watching, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you're able to stay in the mind of gratitude, even in such a chaotic world. And I wish you peace and comfort and happiness, real, true happiness. And I am grateful for you being part of my spiritual journey. I'm so fucking grateful for this spiritual journey. I would lose my mind if I didn't have it. I would not be alive if I had not done this, worked on this project, if I had not started to love myself. And I am grateful. Even if sometimes I don't seem like it, I truly, truly am grateful that the universe reminds me every day how loved I am. And I'm grateful for my ancestors, and I hope that I can make them proud, that I'm able to break the curses that They tried to. And many did break some. That got me right here at this moment with my snoring Frenchie. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Bye.